A cold-hearted millionaire kicks a woman out in the rain. The truth about her leaves him in tears. In the heart of a bustling city, Charles Winthrop, a millionaire with a heart as cold as the steel of his towering skyscraper, sat in his opulent office, surveying his empire. His wealth and influence knew no bounds, and he reveled in the power he wielded over others. Charles believed himself invincible, untouchable by the consequences of his actions. On a dreary afternoon, as rain pounded against the windows, a young woman named Clara entered Charles's office, her eyes filled with desperation. She had come to plead for her father's job, a position Charles had callously terminated without a second thought. Clara's father, a loyal employee for decades, was left with nothing, and she hoped to appeal to Charles's sense of compassion. However, Charles had no time for sentiment. With a dismissive wave of his hand, he ordered Clara out of his office, his voice dripping with disdain. Clara, humiliated and helpless, found herself standing in the pouring rain, her tears mingling with the raindrops. Little did Charles know that Clara was connected to someone powerful, a person who embodied true strength and justice. Miles away, in a modest neighborhood, lived a woman named Evelyn. Known for her unwavering resilience and compassion, Evelyn had dedicated her life to uplifting those around her. She ran a small community center, a beacon of hope for the less fortunate, offering support and guidance to anyone in need. Clara, seeking solace, found her way to Evelyn's door. As she poured out her heart, revealing the cruelty she had endured at the hands of Charles Winthrop, Evelyn listened intently, her eyes filled with understanding. She recognized the pain Clara carried and knew that it was time for a change. Evelyn, a mentor and emotional guide, took Clara under her wing, promising to help her navigate the challenges ahead. Together, they began to forge a plan, one that would not only bring justice to Clara's father, but also teach Charles the true meaning of power and compassion. Charles, oblivious to the gathering storm, continued his reign of tyranny. He manipulated business deals, crushed his competitors, and reveled in the fear he instilled in others. His wealth grew, as did his ego, blinding him to the suffering he caused. Meanwhile, Evelyn and Clara worked tirelessly to build a case against Charles. They gathered evidence of his misdeeds, reached out to former employees who had been wronged, and slowly pieced together a damning portrait of a man consumed by greed and cruelty. As their efforts gained momentum, whispers of change began to circulate. The community, once cowed by Charles's influence, started to rally behind Clara and Evelyn. Small acts of kindness and support multiplied, creating a ripple effect that would soon become a tidal wave. Charles, caught up in his own hubris, remained oblivious to the gathering storm. He continued to make ruthless decisions, believing himself untouchable. However, a chance encounter would soon shatter his illusions. One day, as Charles strode through the lobby of his building, he collided with a young boy, sending the child tumbling to the ground. Instead of offering help, Charles berated the boy, his words cutting deep. Unbeknownst to Charles, the boy was none other than Evelyn's grandson. Evelyn, witnessing the incident, approached Charles with a quiet fury. She spoke of the pain he had caused, the lives he had destroyed, and the reckoning that awaited him. Charles, stunned by her audacity, dismissed her words, but a seed of doubt had been planted in his mind. As the community rallied around Clara and Evelyn, a series of events began to unfold, each one chipping away at Charles's power. Former employees came forward, sharing their stories of mistreatment and exploitation. Journalists, intrigued by the growing movement, began to investigate Charles's dealings, uncovering a web of corruption and deceit. Charles, feeling the pressure mount, lashed out, using his wealth and influence to silence his critics. However, his actions only served to fuel the fire, drawing more attention to his misdeeds. The public, once enamored by his success, began to see him in a different light. Evelyn, ever the mentor, guided Clara through the challenges, teaching her the power of resilience and the importance of standing up for what is right. Clara, once timid and unsure, emerged as a leader, inspiring others with her courage and determination. As the movement gained traction, Charles found himself increasingly isolated. His once loyal associates began to distance themselves, fearing the consequences of association. Business partners, wary of the negative publicity, pulled out of deals, leaving Charles scrambling to maintain his empire. Meanwhile, Evelyn and Clara's efforts bore fruit. They secured a meeting with a high-profile journalist, ready to expose Charles's misdeeds to the world. The article, a damning indictment of Charles's character, sent shockwaves through the city, sparking outrage and calls for justice. Charles, desperate to salvage his reputation, called a press conference. He stood before the cameras, his face a mask of contrition, and offered a hollow apology. However, his words rang false, and the public saw through his facade. In the wake of the article, Charles's world began to crumble. Lawsuits were filed, investigations were launched, and his once unassailable power began to wane. The community, united in their desire for change, rallied behind Clara and Evelyn, demanding accountability. Evelyn, sensing an opportunity, approached Charles with a proposal. She offered him a chance at redemption, a way to make amends for the pain he had caused. Charles, initially resistant, found himself drawn to the idea, a glimmer of hope in the darkness. Under Evelyn's guidance, Charles began to work with the community, using his wealth and resources to support the very people he had once exploited. He funded programs, created jobs, and slowly started to understand the true meaning of power. As Charles's transformation began to take hold, Clara's father, the man whose firing had set the events in motion, emerged from the shadows. He had been quietly observing the unfolding drama, watching as his daughter found her strength and his former employer faced the consequences of his actions. In a poignant moment, Clara's father approached Charles, offering forgiveness and a chance at reconciliation. Charles, humbled by the gesture, accepted, realizing that true power lay in compassion and understanding. Together, Charles, Clara, and Evelyn worked to build a new future, one based on empathy and respect. The community, once divided by Charles's cruelty, began to heal, united in their shared hope for a better tomorrow. As the community grew stronger, small acts of kindness multiplied, creating a ripple effect that touched every corner of the city. Gardens bloomed, community projects flourished, and a sense of unity permeated the air. Charles, now a changed man, found himself at the center of this transformation. He used his wealth and influence to support the community, funding education programs, health initiatives, and job training. He became a symbol of redemption, a testament to the power of second chances. Clara, her confidence restored, stepped into a leadership role, working alongside Evelyn to empower others. She became a beacon of hope, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, light could be found. However, not everyone was pleased with the changes taking place. Some of Charles's former associates, bitter and resentful, plotted to undermine the community's efforts. They spread rumors, sowed discord, and attempted to sabotage the progress that had been made. Charles, aware of the growing threat, knew that he had to confront his past. In a tense showdown, he faced his former allies, armed with the truth and the support of the community. In a moment of stunning revelation, Charles exposed their lies, shattering their credibility and cementing his own redemption. The community, united in their resolve, rallied around Charles, Clara, and Evelyn, standing firm against those who sought to divide them. The power of unity prevailed, and the saboteurs were driven back, their influence diminished. As the dust settled, Charles found himself reflecting on the journey that had brought him to this point. He marveled at the transformative power of compassion, the strength that came from empathy and understanding. In a quiet moment, Charles approached Evelyn, thanking her for the guidance and wisdom she had provided. Evelyn, her eyes shining with pride, reminded him that true power lay not in wealth or influence, but in the ability to make a difference in the lives of others. Charles, his heart full, knew that he had found his true purpose. He pledged to continue his work, to use his resources to uplift and empower, to be a force for good in a world that so desperately needed it. As the community celebrated their triumph, Clara's father took center stage. In a heartfelt speech, he spoke of the power of forgiveness, the importance of second chances, and the strength that comes from unity. He praised his daughter's courage, Evelyn's wisdom, and Charles's transformation, holding them up as examples of the best of humanity. The crowd, moved by his words, erupted in applause, their hearts filled with hope and inspiration. Clara, tears streaming down her face, embraced her father, knowing that their journey had been one of healing and growth. Evelyn, watching from the sidelines, smiled, knowing that her work was far from over, but that the seeds of change had been planted. As the story drew to a close, the community looked to the future with renewed hope. The gardens they had planted, the projects they had started, and the bonds they had forged would continue to grow, nurturing a new era of compassion and understanding. Charles, no longer the cold-hearted millionaire, but a man redeemed, walked hand in hand with Clara and Evelyn, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. They knew that the road would not be easy, that there would be setbacks and obstacles, but they also knew that together, they could overcome anything. The power of unity, the strength of compassion, and the transformative nature of hope had brought them to this moment, and it would carry them forward into a brighter tomorrow. In the end, the story of Charles, Clara, and Evelyn served as a reminder of the potential that lies within each of us. It showed that even the coldest of hearts could be thawed, that the darkest of pasts could be overcome, and that the most insurmountable of challenges could be conquered through the power of love and understanding. As the community looked back on their journey, they marveled at the changes they had witnessed, the growth they had experienced, and the hope they had found. They knew that their story was not unique, that countless others faced similar struggles, but they also knew that they had the power to make a difference. And so, with hearts full of compassion and minds focused on the future, they set out to spread their message, to be a beacon of hope in a world that so desperately needed it. They knew that the road ahead would be long, but they also knew that every journey, no matter how difficult, began with a single step. In the end, the story of Charles, Clara, and Evelyn was not just a tale of redemption, but a testament to the indomitable spirit of the human heart, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, hope could be found, and that together, anything was possible. As the community moved forward, they faced new challenges and obstacles, but they approached each one with the same resilience and determination that had brought them this far. They knew that change was not a destination, but a journey, and that every step, no matter how small, was a step in the right direction. Charles, Clara, and Evelyn continued to lead by example, inspiring others with their compassion, their courage, and their unwavering commitment to making a difference. They knew that their work was far from over, but they also knew that they had the strength and the support of their community behind them. And so, as the sun rose on a new day, the community set out to face the world, armed with the power of unity, the strength of compassion, and the transformative nature of hope. They knew that the road ahead would be long, but they also knew that every journey, no matter how difficult, began with a single step. In the years that followed, the legacy of Charles, Clara, and Evelyn continued to grow. Their story spread far and wide, inspiring others to follow in their footsteps, to embrace compassion, to seek redemption, and to fight for a better world. The community they had nurtured became a model for others, a shining example of what could be achieved when people came together, united by a common purpose. The gardens they had planted became symbols of hope, the projects they had started became beacons of change, and the lives they had touched became a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit. And though the challenges they faced were many, the community knew that they had the strength, the courage, and the love to overcome them all. For they had learned the most important lesson of all, that in the face of adversity, in the darkest of times, hope could always be found, and that together, anything was possible. As the community continued to grow and thrive, Charles, Clara, and Evelyn found themselves at the center of a movement that was spreading far beyond the boundaries of their city. Their story, once a tale of personal redemption, had become a symbol of hope for people around the world. They were invited to speak at conferences, to share their experiences and their wisdom with others who were facing similar challenges. They spoke of the power of compassion, the importance of second chances, and the incredible things that could be achieved when people came together, united in their shared humanity. And as they spoke, they saw the impact of their words reflected in the faces of those who listened. They saw tears of joy, smiles of hope, and the sparkle of inspiration in the eyes of those who had once felt lost and alone. They knew that their journey was far from over, that there would always be more work to be done, more people to reach, more lives to touch. But they also knew that they had the strength and the courage to face whatever challenges lay ahead. And so, as they looked to the future, they did so with hearts full of hope and minds full of determination. They knew that the road ahead would be long, but they also knew that every step, no matter how small, was a step in the right direction. In the end, the story of Charles, Clara, and Evelyn was a reminder that even in the darkest of times, light could be found, and that the power to change the world lay within each and every one of us. It was a story of redemption, of hope, and of the incredible things that could be achieved when we came together, united in our shared humanity. And as the community looked back on their journey, they knew that they had been a part of something truly special, something that would continue to grow and thrive long after they were gone. They knew that they had made a difference, and that their legacy would live on, inspiring others to follow in their footsteps, to be a force for good in the world, and to never give up hope, no matter how dark the night may seem. Years passed, and the community continued to flourish under the guidance of Charles, Clara, and Evelyn. The once neglected neighborhoods were now thriving, with gardens and community centers serving as beacons of hope and unity. As Charles grew older, he began to reflect on the legacy he would leave behind. He knew that his wealth and influence had once been a source of pain and suffering, but now he saw them as tools to create lasting change. With Clara and Evelyn's help, Charles established a foundation dedicated to supporting communities in need. They funded education initiatives, healthcare programs, and job training, ensuring that the work they had begun would continue long after they were gone. Clara, now a respected leader in her own right, took on the role of mentoring the next generation of changemakers. She shared her story, her struggles, and her triumphs, inspiring others to stand up for what they believed in and to never give up hope. Evelyn, ever the wise and compassionate guide, continued to offer her support and guidance to all who sought it. She reminded them that true strength lay in the power of unity, and that every act of kindness, no matter how small, had the potential to change the world. As the years passed, Charles, Clara, and Evelyn's legacy grew, spreading far beyond the boundaries of their city. Their story became a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the transformative power of love and compassion. And so, as the sun set on their lives, Charles, Clara, and Evelyn looked back on the journey they had taken, the lives they had touched, and the world they had helped to shape. They knew that their work was not finished, that there would always be more to do, but they also knew that they had laid the foundation for a brighter future. In their final days, they gathered with the community they had loved and served, sharing stories, laughter, and tears. They spoke of the challenges they had faced, the obstacles they had overcome, and the incredible things they had achieved together. As they looked out over the sea of faces, young and old, they saw the impact of their lives reflected in the eyes of those they had touched. They saw hope, love, and the promise of a better tomorrow. And as they took their final breaths, they did so with hearts full of peace and minds full of gratitude. They knew that they had lived a life of purpose, a life dedicated to making the world a better place, and that their legacy would live on, inspiring others to follow in their footsteps. Chapter 13, 342 Words. In the years that followed, the community continued to thrive, guided by the principles of compassion, unity, and hope that Charles, Clara, and Evelyn had embodied. The gardens they had planted continued to bloom, the community centers they had built continued to serve, and the lives they had touched continued to inspire. The foundation that Charles had established became a beacon of hope for communities around the world, supporting initiatives that empowered the disadvantaged, the marginalized, and the forgotten. It became a testament to the power of compassion, a reminder that every life had value, and that every person deserved a chance to thrive. Clara's Mints went on to become leaders in their own right, carrying the torch of change and inspiring new generations to follow in their footsteps. They became a force for good, a voice for the voiceless, and a reminder that even the smallest acts of kindness could have a profound impact on the world. Evelyn's wisdom continued to guide the community, her words echoing through the generations, reminding them of the power of unity, the strength of compassion, and the importance of never giving up hope. She became a symbol of resilience, a reminder that no matter how dark the night may seem, dawn was always just around the corner. And though Charles, Clara, and Evelyn were gone, their presence could still be felt in every corner of the community, in every act of kindness, every gesture of love, and every step towards a brighter future. They had left behind a legacy of hope, a testament to the power of the human spirit, and a reminder that even in the darkest of times, light could always be found. And so, as the community looked to the future, they did so with hearts full of hope and minds full of determination. They knew that the road ahead would be long, that there would be challenges and obstacles to overcome, but they also knew that they had the strength, the courage, and the love to face whatever lay ahead. They carried with them the lessons they had learned from Charles, Clara, and Evelyn, the power of compassion, the strength of unity, and the importance of never giving up hope. They knew that these were the keys to building a better world, a world where every person had the chance to thrive, where every life was valued, and where every dream could become a reality. And as they set out on this journey, they did so with the knowledge that they were not alone, that they were part of a community, a movement, a force for good that stretched across the globe. They were the bearers of a legacy, the torchbearers of hope, and the architects of a brighter tomorrow. In the end, the story of Charles, Clara, and Evelyn was a reminder that no matter how dark the night may seem, dawn was always just around the corner, and that with courage, compassion, and hope, anything was possible. It was a story that would be told for generations to come, a beacon of light in a world that so often seemed filled with darkness.